Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Central Florida Film Review. For this episode, we have chosen to review the classic 1993 movie by Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park, also brought to you by Universal Studios. Fantastic movie, great film. We'll get into it in just a moment. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Really appreciate those of you who are listening to the episodes. God bless. Hope you're all staying safe during this coronavirus problem. Good luck with everything. And now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, as with every other episode of the podcast, what we like to do is to start off by having you guys listen to the trailer, because the trailer helps you get into just a groove so that you enjoy the movie, and it brings you back to the days when you were a kid and you were renting a copy of this film, if you're old enough to remember it, renting a copy of this film with your family from the store known as Blockbuster. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. I present to you the trailer, the original trailer for Jurassic Park.
Since the beginning of time, man has searched the earth for evidence of its past. But while some have looked for clues to the mystery, one man has found the way to bring the mystery back to life.
I own an island off the coast of Costa Rica, and I've spent the last 5 years setting up a kind of biological preserve.
Here, on this private island, science has defied evolution.
Where do you get 100 million-year-old dinosaur blood?
Genetics has mastered creation.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
And extinction is a thing of the past.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
They got in there King Kong?
None of these attractions are ready yet, of course, but the park will open with the basic tour you're about to take.
Hey, look at this!
You see something?
Dinosaurs and man, two species separated by 65 million years of evolution, have just been suddenly thrown back into the mix together.
Can I touch it?
Sure. How can we possibly have the slightest idea
Do you feel that?
what to expect?
Fences are failing all over the park.
Yeah, that's nice.
Phones are out too.
Gotta go.
Universal Pictures presents
Hey, Ian, freeze!
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
an adventure 65 million years in the making.
Oh no.
This is just a delay. That's all it is. All major theme parks had delays. When they opened Disneyland in 1956, nothing worked.
But John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
You sure we're safe?
Yes. Unless they figured out how to open doors.
Jurassic Park.
Wow. I mean, come on. Such an amazing trailer. Absolutely fantastic trailer. And I will look it up for you momentarily and let you know, but I can't remember the name of the person that's doing the narration for that trailer. I think it might be a gentleman by the name of Mr. Hal Douglas. And if it is Hal Douglas, he passed away several years ago, I believe, in 2014. May he rest in peace. Incredibly talented voice actor. Incredibly talented. And his voice was perfect for this trailer. Perfect tone. Such a great job. Amazing trailer. It makes me want to go buy a DVD of it right now, or just watch it on Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever. But it makes me want to stream Jurassic Park right now. Just wow. Still holds up to this day. Man, so that's the trailer for Jurassic Park. Found it on YouTube. You can find anything on YouTube. Just a quick reminder, I'm using this all under fair use, protected by federal law for commentary and criticism and critique. All copyright and rights belong to Universal Studios, NBC Universal, and Steven Spielberg, mostly Universal. Point is, great trailer, great movie. Now, as always, what we like to do, now that we've been sucked into the wonderful, magical world of the trailer, we try to focus on dialogue or music or both. So I want you to listen to dialogue and listen to sounds that you hear in this scene from the film. I'll tell you what scene it is afterwards, but most of you, I'm sure, will recognize this scene almost immediately.
Full 50 miles of perimeter fence are in place.
And the concrete notes, and the motion sensor tracking systems. Donald, dear boy, relax. Try and enjoy yourself.
Let's get something straight, John. This is not a weekend excursion. This is a serious investigation of the stability of the island. Your investors, whom I represent, are deeply concerned. 48 hours from now, if they're not convinced, I'm not convinced. I'll shut you down, John.
In 48 hours, I'll be accepting your apologies.
Slow down, slow. Stop.
I shouldn't be here. Alan, this species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing is about this thing. What?
It's a dinosaur.
You did it. You crazy son of a bitch, you did it.
We get this character rule book on it. Cold-bloodedness, it doesn't apply. They're totally wrong. This is a warm-blooded creature.
This thing doesn't live in a swamp.
This thing's got, what, a 25, 27-foot neck? A Brachiosaurus 30.
We're gonna make a fortune with this place.
How fast are they?
Well, we clocked the T-Rex at 32 miles an hour.
T-Rex?
Mm-hmm.
You said you've got a T-Rex?
Uh-huh.
Say again.
We have a T-Rex.
Wow.
Put your head between your knees.
Dr. Grant. My dear Dr. Sattler. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
They're moving in herds. They do move in herds.
How'd you do this? I'll show you.
Amazing. Just amazing. I mean, it's one of those things where it is a movie, so it's much better when you can see it instead of just hear it. But, let's be honest, tell me that doesn't make you want to go watch it right now, right? Seriously. It's an amazing scene in the film, and it's one of the most well-remembered scenes. There's probably about 5 or 6 others that are the tops, make up what would be the top 6 scenes in the film, but that is definitely one of them where the famous, now deceased English actor, Mr. Richard Attenborough says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park." Gets me every time. Now, this is one of the strengths of Jurassic Park. See, Jurassic Park is, by its nature, an adventure film. On the poster, they even advertise it as an adventure 65 million years in the making. So, it uses techniques from older adventure films that were already pre-established in Hollywood to tell the story, but it uses them in a way that's not cliche, which is pretty impressive, because sometimes movies in the 90s struggled with cliches. Not that there were no good 90s movies, some of my favorite movies are from that decade, but some movies back in the 1990s and the very late 80s struggled with certain cliches that if you tried to use now in film, the movie would flop at the box office, guaranteed. Jurassic Park does not suffer from those cliches. The story had never been done before. It was based off a book by, I believe, a gentleman named Daniel Crichton or something. And no one had ever written a book about what would happen if someone brought the dinosaurs back to life in the present day, where they're at this gigantic theme park. It was wholly original, and it makes it an amazing film. And this scene, the music and the dialogue are all perfectly edited together. The sound mixing is flawless. The pacing is also flawless because it's happening at the perfect speed, happening at really just great middle-of-the-road speed. The scene is taking place, but it doesn't feel rushed. We follow the main characters, and then at the end of it, we have "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and just this beautiful music written by Mr. John Williams, one of the greatest American composers in human history. And it just blends together into this absolutely gorgeous piece of cinematic scenery. And it just comes off great on the silver screen. Now, this is one of the many reasons why I recommend this film. Unfortunately, the franchise for Jurassic Park / Jurassic World is still going on. Honestly, we should probably stop now, before we ruin the franchise, like we did with Star Wars. Thanks a lot, Disney. Thanks for nothing. Now, anyways, Jurassic Park, fantastic movie. This scene made my eyes pop out of my head when I was a kid, and I got to see it for the first time several years after it had been released. Now, I want you to take a moment and also listen to the dialogue and the music from this scene. This is a very iconic scene that involves a glass of water. I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
It's the power trying to come back on.
What is that? Where's the goat?
He left us.
Now, where does he think he's going?
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Dr. Grant?
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Keep absolutely still. This vision's based on movement.
Okay, so that was the scene where the camera zooms in on two glasses of water, and you hear this thud sound, and it starts to get louder, and it's the T-Rex walking toward their two vehicles, their motor vehicles, and breaking out of its habitat, because this is after certain events have happened. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but also this movie is really old and really iconic, so if you haven't seen it, that's a tragedy, and you need to fix that, please. I'll spot you the money to go see this movie. Somehow. Find it on Amazon Prime, rent it on YouTube, do what you have to, but watch this movie. I think it's only $3. Don't pirate it. Don't pirate it, people. Please don't torrent it. We don't need to do that. Just that's theft. Just watch it. Pay the $2.99. It's worth it. Believe me. But this scene is an amazing scene. It's where the T-Rex breaks out. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. And if you have seen it, you'll know exactly what scene I'm talking about. This is where the T-Rex first gets out of its natural habitat built into the park, and the water glass with the amazing scene. Fantastic scene. One of the best scenes in the movie, because the camera work is fantastic. Still have the sound effects going. Sound mixing is great in the movie, and the sound effects are absolutely just on point. Also, you have to remember, this film was from 1993. CGI was really just starting to be used. In fact, some might argue, or at least you could argue, potentially, that Jurassic Park and then Disney's Toy Story 2 years later in 1995 were the two films that really changed the frequency of CGI use in Hollywood. Because after that, people started to see the potential for CGI. And it, as we progressed into the later 90s and into the 2000s and now the 2020s, it only became more and more common. Only now we overdo it just a little sometimes. But this is back before we overdid it. This is one of the things that some movies should probably go back to doing. This is a combination of CGI and puppetry. A lot of these dinosaurs, some of them were actually very large puppets. And then they would combine puppetry with 90s computer animation and some green screen effects. So because of that, it all blends together and just meshes together into what is a flawless execution of a scene that tells you, yes, something is wrong. You should be scared. If you're in the audience, please keep watching. It gets better. Great movie. Absolutely wonderful film. if you haven't seen it, again, by some just horrible set of circumstances, or if you're just that young, I recommend watching it. Ask your parents first, but watch it. Great movie. And this scene is iconic beyond words, because if you watch it, all the actors do a great job of looking scared. And Jeff Goldblum is in this movie. He's incredibly talented, great actor. When he looks scared, especially back in 93 when he had the black curly hair and the leather jacket, it's hilarious. It's priceless. The look on his face is pure, on-camera gold. So just another one of the 1,000,001 reasons why I would recommend watching this film. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for you today for this particular episode. Thank you so much for continuing to support Central Florida Film Review. And if you haven't heard us before, I hope that some of you will become new listeners in the near future. By the way, a couple of quick announcements before I go. We will be releasing new episodes every week, new episodes every Friday, guaranteed. And very soon, 2 upcoming events that I think you'll all like are, one, a friend of mine named Jennifer will be a guest/co-host on my show soon to review the movie Spy Kids from the early 2000s. And we're actually going to trash that one on purpose. Normally, I focus on objectively reviewing the film, but she can't stand it, and I'm going to give her a moment to just explain everything that's wrong with it. We'll have a moment of all the sins of Spy Kids in film, and it's going to be hilarious. You're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. Also, we will be transitioning into more modern films as well. There will be reviews of 1917, the war movie that got released last year, to look forward to, reviews of Trolls World Tour, and possibly even a review of the movie Cats. Not looking forward to that one. I might actually need some ibuprofen for that one. But still, we will be reviewing some of the recently released blockbusters and some of the recently released cinematic flops. So stay tuned. More information to come. Also, please consider donating to Central Florida Film Review. Right now, we depend on your donations to get equipment and to gather together resources for the podcast. Thank you. God bless. Good night.